In Argentina, electoral campaigns close as part of the schedule ahead of the second round of presidential elections to be held on Sunday. In Palestine, telecom companies have reported the entry communications network has gone out in Gaza after the region has run out of fuel. In Spain, the candidate of the Socialist Spanish Worker Party, Pedro Sánchez, was invested as president of the government of the country before the Congress of Deputies. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll be with the news. Stay with us. On Thursday in Argentina, the electoral campaign closed as part of the schedule for the second round of presidential elections. The candidates of Union for the Homeland and Liberty Advance are finalizing proposals that will stimulate the vote of the undecided. In this sense, the official candidate, Sergio Massa, will hold this Thursday a meeting with businessmen of the Inter-American Council of Commerce and Production before the beginning of the closing of the voting period next Sunday's ballot. Meanwhile, the ultra-right candidate Javier Milei will close his electoral campaign in the capital of Cordoba, where his supporters are expected to carry out a caravan in support of the candidate. On Wednesday, the Peruvian Congress approved the censure of the Minister of Interior, Vicente Romero, for the increase in citizen insecurity. The parliamentary decision obtained 75 votes in favor, 25 against, and 13 abstentions. These results implies Romero's resignation. According to the Peruvian legal framework, the designated president, Dina Boluarte, has a maximum term of 72 hours to accept the decision and appoint a new minister.
Congress of the Republic agrees to censure the Minister of the Interior, Vicente Romero Fernandez, for the considerations contained in motions 8911 and 8927 that demonstrate his manifest technical incapacity of leadership and lack of suitability for the exercise of the position in accordance with Article 132 of the Political Constitution of Peru and Article 86 of the Regulation of the Congress of the Republic, subscribed by Congressman Eduardo Castillo and Margot.
On Wednesday, local media highlight that the demonstrators that congregate in the surrounding of the Congress of Guatemala were brutally repressed by security forces. The demonstrators came to reject the swearing of the new magistrates of the Supreme Court of Justice, which they consider a parliamentary maneuver to prevent the elected government from taking office next year. The Congress suspended the discussion on the budget to elect 13 new magistrates. After a delay of 4 years and 259 attempts, 13 new magistrates of the Constitutional Court were elected.
Of you have acted at the level of resistance in the towns, and we thank you. We have given you food from the territories. We have given you your food. We have given your glasses of pure water. You have not violated us either, but we have told you that we are going to take a list of who you are, and if you attack the people just like those who are there, we are going to ask that you face justice in the change of command on the 14th at 14 o'clock. That is what we have told you, so think about it if you are going to attack your people. Think about it if you are going to attack your brothers.
The national head of alliances of the Venezuelan campaign, Héctor Rodríguez, emphasized that his government will seek to resolve the situation with Guyana in a peaceful way. In a dialogue with teleSUR, Rodríguez emphasized that Venezuela seeks a political solution to the conflict.
We are rather providing a political solution to an offensive action against the sovereignty of a country that is being developed by ExxonMobil and, unfortunately, by the government in power in Guyana. We do not want violence. On the contrary, we want to propose to Guyana that we go back to the Geneva Agreement. Let's go back to the good officiating. Let's go back to dialogue. Let's go back to rational channels to solve a conflict that we inherited from British imperialism.
The Venezuelan government official stressed that Caracas is only defending itself from aggression that began at the time of independence.
What Venezuela is doing is defending itself against an aggression that began after the freedom of Venezuela. Venezuela has had an established territory since the creation of the Captaincy General. When the Captaincy General of Venezuela was created, the royal decree states that the captaincy is born in the Essequibo River to the Zulia to the Táchira. It has been unquestionable, so as all official documents state, all Venezuela territory.
In this context, Erto Rodriguez stated that a consultative referendum sends a clear democratic and peaceful message to the world about the Venezuelan people's position on Guyana Essequibo.
In view of this situation, which no country can accept, we have chosen to give a democratic, peaceful, political response, and thus send a clear message by calling for what is constitutionally an option for us. Our constitution says that sovereignty is expressed through the vote. The people exercise through the vote. So we are calling for a referendum to ratify whether or not the Venezuelan people agree or disagree with the position that the entire government has taken of not recognizing the war, of understanding the Geneva Agreement as the only option, and of defending our territory. We are going to do that on December 3rd.
Let's take a very first break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. In Panama, the United People Alliance will start a national strike against the mining deal in upcoming hours. The only trade union of constructions and allied and the associations of teachers, among other organizations, request the government to repeal 406 law, which approved the mining concession deal for 20 extendable years in order to allow the Canadian company to exploit the biggest mine of Central America exclusively. Unions, social, indigenous, students, and peasants organizations ratified that it's about struggling for their life and Panama's future. The fight against the mine is a fight for life because the hectares illegitimate negotiated by the Panamanian executive are located in an Mesoamerican biological corridor, the protected area. The mine has caused health and life for years to the indigenous communities for the region's oncologist patients also raise their voice.
The patients of the oncology hospital say no to mining. Panama is worth more without mining. The goal of Panama is green. Who taught us to fight? Victoriano Dalia Urraca and this Verahuense, Bocas del Toro, Chiriqui, Up, Boca, and all our provinces. Long live to Panama. The patients of the oncology hospital, we say no to mining.
On Thursday, local media in Haiti report that police forces in hospitals rescued more than 100 people who were kidnapped by a powerful gun in Port-au-Prince. Jose Ulis is director of the Fontaine Hospital Center located in the Sixth Hill neighborhood, confirmed that the place, which also serves as a refuge for those fleeing violence, was brutally attacked. In the sense that police evacuated 40 children and 70 patients in armored cars to residents of safer places. According to the police report, those responsible for the attacks are members of a powerful blue-clean gang under the command of Gabriel Jean-Pierre, alias T. Gravier. On Wednesday in Bolivia, the state-owned company known in Spanish as Yacimientos Petrolíferos Fiscales Bolivianos confirmed that a sale of 2,000 metric tons of liquefied petroleum gas to the Paraguayan company Petropar in the framework of resuming commercial operations. Armin Dugartin, the president of the state-owned company, said that it was very positive to have a customer like Petropar. In this sense, he explained that the consumption needs of neighboring companies will be covered with available surpluses from the Carlos Villegas liquid separation plant out of the 2,000 tons agree. The U.S. Congress senators approve a temporary funding package that does not include aid to either Israel or Ukraine. The U.S. Senate, which met until late into the night, postpones the confrontation over the federal budget until next year. The vote was overwhelming, 87 votes for this final decision and only 11 against. The measure goes directly to President Joe Biden's desk, and this time there is no chance that the head of state will refuse its approval, as it could paralyze the country. And now shifting topics, on Friday in Palestine, the telecommunications companies Yawol and Paltel announced the networks went out of services after all energy sources were depleted as a result of failures to allow the fuel into the besieged territory. The companies brought in a statement on social network X on that all sources of energy supporting the grid have been shut down. They had warned on Wednesday that Gaza was facing a complete blackout due to the lack of fuel to operate main data centers and switches. In the sense, both companies confirmed they removed basic elements of the network to rely on batteries. The Israeli occupation forces do not cease their side against Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza, even after destroying it almost on its entirety. Armed clashes have occurred on all roads leading to the health centers. The Israeli troops contracted the families until living around Al-Shifa, telling them to leave their homes immediately. They are in this way being forced to walk in the middle of the line of fire. At these hours, despite the occupiers' threats warning about future bombings, the families remain in what is left of their houses. Human rights organizations, media, and regional governments have been categorical in confirming that Israel lied about the Al-Shifa Hospital, the largest in Gaza, now destroyed. Two crosstalk videos were published by the Zionist forces. The first one was drawn in the reign of criticism and mockery. Israel bombed for a week a hospital full of patients, medical personnel, and refugees with the excuse that it was the center of the operation of Hamas. Data have broadcast images showing about 20 old rifles, computers without passwords, and have arrested 200 people who were taken out of the hospital blindfolded without informing the reason or their destination. Medical organizations report that the equipment of the World Health Organizations were reduced to scrap metal. On Wednesday, at least 50 Palestinian civilians were killed by Israel after the shelling a mosque while worshippers were praying. The events took place in the most of Al-Sabra neighborhood in the center of Gaza. According to Europe and Middle East human rights monitors, the Israeli attack have destroyed 66 mosques and caused very serious damage to 146 others since it begins a genocidal operation in Gaza. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch on interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. One financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Spain, the candidate of the Socialist Spanish Workers' Party, Pedro Sánchez, was invested on Thursday as president of the government of the country before the Congress of Deputies. For the third consecutive time in 5 years, the Spanish mandatory was elected before the House of Deputies, counting with 179 votes in favor and 171 against. During Wednesday and Thursday, the president of the government, Sanchez, debated with speakers of all the political parties and received the support of at least 7 parties. In Russia, local Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with his Venezuelan counterpart Ivan Gil. The top diplomat highlighted the role of the BRICS in strengthening the dollarization process. Lavrov and Gil praised the relations between Caracas and Moscow based on trust and bilateral respect. Lavrov also assured that the cooperation links with Venezuela are part of Moscow's strategies to contribute to the development of various regions of the planet. For his part, the Venezuelan representative said that relations between the two countries are at their best moment and reaffirmed the willingness of the Bolivarian country to strengthen spaces for joint benefit in economic and political files.
To continue to raise the level of relations, it is a relationship that is very fluid. There are changes at all levels of our minister, our directors, our public officials in all matters of political economic life and aspects beyond that collaboration. They are developed efficiently, and we have reviewed each of them in these negotiations.
Likewise, the Venezuelan diplomat also referred to the issue of financial architecture, the MIR platform in the Venezuelan territory.
The MIR platform, which allows the use of this Russian way of payment in Venezuela, is operating throughout the national territory. There is a 100% coverage of the territory. More than 79,000 payment terminals are currently active, working in almost all Venezuelan business and stores. The card can be used. We are talking about almost 40% of Venezuelan payment terminals have this system already incorporated. On the island of Margarita and in tourist area, it is a 100% coverage. That is, all Russian tourists or tourists using the MIR payment system can work.
For his part, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stressed the decision and the need to accelerate and promote agreements and projects in different areas as part of multilateralism.
We have numerous projects in the field of oil production, gas field development, agriculture, medicine, pharmaceuticals, communications, new technologies. In all areas, it was decided to increase the pace and volume of cooperation in accordance with the agreements reached on October 16 at the 17th session of the Russian-Venezuelan High-Level Intergovernmental Commission. We know the improvement of transport connectivity between our countries, stable air connection between Moscow and Caracas, as well as a number of Russian cities and the Venezuelan tourists on the island of Margarita. This contributes to the increase of tourist flow from Russia to Venezuela.
The Russian diplomat stressed that the illegitimate unilateral sanctions by the U.S. are largely responsible for the problems in the Venezuelan economy due to the blockade of assets at the international level.
We have confirmed our assessment, according to which the problems of the national economy that have been shown in recent years are largely caused by the illegitimate unilateral sanctions of the United States, including the blockade of Venezuelan state assets abroad, which is unacceptable from any point of view.
Bangladesh exceeds 1,500 dengue deaths occurred since January this year. According to the General Directorate of Health Services of the Asian country, the number of deaths rose to 1,520 on Wednesday, with 24 cases registered in the last 24 hours. This in addition to more than 1,600 hospitalized, bringing the number of contagions to more than 96,000. According to the report of the health authorities, dengue fever is usually mild or asymptomatic. In China, a fire that has left at least 26 people dead and more than 70 injured. The fire started on Thursday morning at the headquarters of a coal plant belonging to the Yanggu company located in the northern province of Shaanxi. The authorities activated the operations to rescue the people who were still in the facilities. On Thursday, Cuba's mystical capital, Havana, opens its balconies to celebrate 504 years in its foundation as San Cristobal de la Habana. Found in 1518 by the Spanish conquistador, Havana became in the 17th century an important site for the Caribbean region. Old Havana, according to experts, has maintained the pattern of the earlier urban environment with its 5 large squares, each with its own architectural characters. The city as a whole covers 732 square kilometers and has 15 municipalities, of which 9 are totally urban. Its streets reveals, especially in the old part, the reasons why the UNESCO declared our World Heritage Site in 1982. However, its people are the essence of its traditions in the present and the future. And we have come to the end of this news brief, but before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share that our newscast and contribute to provide an alternative news sources of the latest world events. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and also on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.